probably grew up hearing some version of this. Your parents, doing their best, looked at you and your sibling and said, "We treat you both exactly the same." And somewhere in the back of your developing brain, something went, "That is not right. That is factually incorrect, and I will be angry about this forever." Congratulations, you were onto something. Here is the psychology of it. When parents try to treat siblings equally, they are not actually responding to two children. They are responding to a system. And children, being small humans with enormous emotional radars, can feel the difference. Equality says you both get the same slice. Equity says you both get what you actually need. And when a kid who needed a bigger slice gets the same one as their sibling, they do not think, "How fair?" They think, "I am invisible." That feeling has a name. Researchers call it sibling de-identification, which is a very clinical way of saying that kids in the same family work extremely hard to be nothing like each other. Because if your sibling already owns the good at school identity, you have approximately zero interest in competing for it. You will find something else. You will become the funny one, the athletic one, the chaotic one, whatever is left unclaimed. The family is a market, and every child is frantically trying to corner a niche. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable. When parents try to be fair, they accidentally flatten those distinctions. They say things like, "Your brother works hard too," or "Your sister has feelings too." And what the child hears is, "Your niche is not safe." And a child whose niche is not safe is a child who will fight. Not fight as in argue, fight as in destabilize every dinner for the next 11 years. Leon Festinger, who was the kind of man who got genuinely excited about human suffering, gave us social comparison theory in 1954. The short version is this: we do not evaluate ourselves in a vacuum. We evaluate ourselves relative to people nearby. And who is nearer than a sibling? Who do you have more data on? Who do you watch constantly, involuntarily, whether you like it or not? So when your parents treat you the same as your sibling, you are not just being compared by them. You are comparing yourself obsessively to someone who shares your house, your gene pool, and your last name. And every identical treatment becomes a referendum. If we both got the same thing, and they're doing better with it, what does that say about me? Nothing helpful is the answer. Nothing that makes family dinner easier. Alfred Adler, who everyone has heard of but no one reads, built his entire career on this dynamic. He argued that birth order shapes personality not because of biology, but because of the social position it creates. The oldest child is the only child until they are not. They experience a kind of psychological demotion that Adler described with the kind of enthusiasm you would expect from a man who had clearly thought about this since childhood. He called it being dethroned. Not reassigned, dethroned. The youngest, meanwhile, is always catching up, always the one who cannot do the thing yet, always slightly too small for the situation, which, depending on the child, produces either remarkable ambition or a very charming refusal to ever be responsible for anything. And the middle child? Adler basically looked at the middle child and said, "You have my deepest sympathies." Here is what the research says happens when parents try to equalize all of this. A study on parental differential treatment, which is the academic term for obviously favoring one kid, found something counterintuitive. Children were less bothered by being treated differently than they were by perceiving unfairness. Those are not the same thing. A child who gets less can accept it if they understand why. What they cannot accept is the gap between what they are told, "We are totally fair," and what they experience. "I definitely got less." That gap is called cognitive dissonance, and children, who have not yet developed the adult skill of pretending dissonance doesn't exist, will externalize it immediately, directly onto their sibling, who did nothing wrong except exist, and receive a slightly larger portion of parental attention in a way that was not sufficiently explained. The sibling is not the problem. The sibling is a very convenient place to put the problem. Now here is the part where this becomes genuinely strange. The fighting, the rivalry, the years of accumulated grievance, it's not actually about the other child most of the time. It's about visibility. Children who feel seen by their parents, specifically seen as distinct individuals with different needs and different internal experiences, show dramatically lower levels of sibling conflict. Not zero, but dramatically lower. The irony is that the parents trying hardest to be fair are often the ones creating the most invisibility, because treating everyone the same requires not looking too closely at anyone. John Gottman, who has spent a career watching people ruin their relationships in laboratory conditions so we don't have to, would tell you that the issue is not resource distribution, it's emotional attunement, which is his way of saying the child does not want the same slice. The child wants you to notice that they don't actually like cake, and their sibling does, and you've been serving cake for years, and everyone is supposed to be grateful. So the next time someone tells you their family was very fair growing up, and then immediately tells you 17 things about their sibling said in a tone that suggests the situation is not fully resolved, you will know exactly what happened. They were treated equally. They were not seen individually, and somewhere in their nervous system, they are still waiting for someone to notice the difference.